Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Vicious. I've got some new Dungeon Defenders tutorials for you. Today is the first day that patch 7.09 is live, and that has brought a lot of changes to the game. The biggest two that you should know about is that enemy HP ramps have been increased by 33%. So that means enemies have roughly 33% more HP. That means a lot more difficult time in some of these challenges and missions. This only affects the insane difficulty, so any tutorial or mission you're used to on hard or under is still the same, but if you're playing insane, be aware that it is now 33% more difficult thereabout. The other big major change is that the skill cap for your character, when you're putting your skill points into your character, used to be a max of 70, but now it actually maxes out at 100. So that means you can specialize your character a little bit more if you'd like to put more than 70 points into a specific stat. And it does have one negative drawback that I'm very disappointed about, and that's the speed. Speed actually had a cap on it, whether you knew it or not. At 70 points, your character went the fastest speed possible. Putting more points into it than 70 had no effect. But now that the cap is 100, if you have only 70 points in there, you're actually slower than you used to be. You have to put 100 points in to be as fast as you used to be with 70. And I think that's, honestly, I think that's going to hurt a lot. Like, how many tutorials have you seen where I have like 1 or 2 seconds left before I switch out my characters right before the time expires, because I'm using a tower character and I have to switch to DPS. And if I'm slower now, I'm not going to make that 2 seconds anymore. So I'm going to have to compensate by using a DPS weapon on my tower build characters now, instead of a tower all-in weapon, and fighting through the first wave is pretty much the way I've been compensating for it. And I'm actually in the process right now of getting myself a new weapon for my monk, because I want to get a good hybrid tower slash attack weapon. And the place to do that is going to be the challenge Unlikely Allies on Insane. This awards you the Ogre's Childhood Toy, which is like the best tower monk weapon. I'm going to get a good one and upgrade it to have good attack instead of good tower stats. I'm going to show you a pretty cool build today. It's called my no aggro build. Other people have used this very similar build on Summit and some other stages, so I'm actually going to be redoing the Summit Insane tutorial after this, showing this build because it's really good for Summit. One of the problems you might have on Summit is ninjas destroying your stuff, or while you're at the final fight with the dragon destroys your stuff and you die and lose. But this no aggro build uses traps and auras only, so there's nothing to be destroyed, nothing for the ninjas to aggro onto. So you end up with a really nice, strong build. So here we are, Unlikely Allies. Pretty much playing the stage like normal, except you have an ogre buddy that you have to keep alive. And the easiest way to do that, I think, in this challenge is to actually camp the enemies right out of the spawn point, not let them get up towards the center of the map where the ogre would aggro onto them. So he can stay up there, mind his own business, and we'll do what we gotta do. So I'm just starting off. I'm gonna put a snare and lightning aura right in the center of all 3 of these staircases, and that's gonna be all I need to build for the monk. After the next 9 enemies spawn, and we'll get on to where we can change over to my trap huntress. here's my trap huntress. Real quick flash at my specs so you can see them. So I'm going to be putting myself an inferno trap over here on the edge. And a gas trap over here on this edge. The idea of the build is very simple. You have the electricity aura and the ensnare aura slowing down and electrocuting everything. But now throwing in the inferno trap, you're going to be burning everything at the same time, so you're doing almost double the DPS. And if anything is immune to electric, the fire will get them. If anything is immune to fire, the electric will get them. The gas trap just kind of adds insult to injury by allowing the mobs not just to be slowed down, but actually completely frozen in place. And then I have this last line of defense type deal. I'm just going to put a proximity over on the staircases. So if anything makes it past the two traps, then it's going to get blown to pieces. What are you doing over here? Oh, that sucks. Oh well. Not quite enough defense units to put proximity mines on every single side. So basically, put them on the two chokes that you're not going to be standing at. But the only weakness that the trap aura build really has is ogres, and there's only like 2 ogre spawns on this challenge, so not a big deal. When we get to the Insane Summit tutorial, that one's got a few ogres, so I won't use purely traps. I'll show you some little mix-up to the strategy to help you get through that. Go ahead and switch over to the DPS Huntress. That way when Mr. Ogre does come, we'll be more than ready. He always comes right here out of the middle if I'm not mistaken. And we can be good tower defense players and repair stuff. With a little bit of luck, hopefully I get a really good weapon this time, so I can move on to do some other stuff today. I missed my pure tower monk weapon. I had lightning taking almost 1,000 damage. It's pretty cool. But almost 800 damage is getting the job done. Proxy mines are 8,800, it's not bad. They're basically like striker towers. Sorry for being a little bit on the quiet side. I just got off work. I'm tired. It was a long night. And there's just not a whole lot to talk about right now. This build is really easy. It's basically just waiting out the challenge. We'll get an ogre this wave though. That'll add some excitement. Yep, overheat's up the center. Let's go take care of that. He tends to aggro on any ogre spawns, pretty much beelines for him. One more guy alive. And there should be 2 ogres on this final wave. Gotta think, with the 33% HP buff and what was it, like 30% HP buff last patch for the ogres, for single player, for solo I mean. That's quite a big buff to the enemies that they've done recently. For the easier challenges like this, I don't think it's a big deal, but I can imagine Halloween on Insane or Monster Fest on Insane are just going to be so hard now. I mean, I just got to the point where I was soloing Halloween Insane comfortably the other day, and it's probably going to be requiring me to do some different tweaks now. Monster Fest I never really had down solo, not yet. Had some ideas that would work really good, but I just never built a character to do it. Alright, should be an ogre coming up here in a second. That's it. The ogres are down. One more guy somewhere. Other side of the stage. Alright guys, there you go. How to beat Unlikely Allies on Insane Solo with patch 7.09. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the upcoming videos.